Tsardoms Total War is perhaps another great modification of Total War Medieval 2. Now when I played this mod, I felt as if I've entered into a new Total War game. This is what the endgame of Medieval 2 should have been, in my opinion. This is a massive, gigantic campaign map set in the Italian peninsula and the Balkans, including Asia Minor. It already feels like the late Middle Ages, and especially around this area is a perfect candidate for Total War. There's intrigue, politics, scripts, new unit designs, new battle mechanics. Already I fell in love with the fact that I would see knights in shining armor fight each other. And they also had unique armor designs as well. There is so much differentiation, and all I'm saying is you really have to check out this mod, because this mod is insane. Literally, it's like a new Total War game, and that's what I really like about it. It feels so unique, so completely fulfilled, that if you were to play this mod, you feel like you're playing Medieval 3, only just a little bit smaller, but a bit more expanded version of what Medieval 3 should be. I was impressed, and I really am liking what I'm seeing here. So there are multiple factions to choose from, and there are many different diverges you can take. So no one campaign will play the same, apart from the fact that if you chose a script of a historical path, then those factions will play as historically as they did. So you could go to Milan, you could go to Venice, and each of these factions will receive their own unique scripts, their own unique motives, their own unique objectives, and they will also get their own unique historical paths as well, which you can decide if you want to follow it or not. And I really love the fact that if you choose the garrison script, it makes attacking cities or castles much harder, so you expand much slower. And of course you can decide to do two things. You can have the Ottomans being weak, and you can have no garrisons, and you can also have no realistic economy. Now of course this would differentiate your campaign. You'd have a bit of an easier time, but I recommend that you at least play 2 out of 3 of these options, because when you try and attack cities, it's going to be very hard. It's going to be very hard. You can also decide, of course, whether to have the Ottomans have strong armies, which means you face multiple attacks or stacks or whatever you want to say it. If you want to face the Ottomans and you want to face these big boys, you might have to think, do you want strong Ottomans or do you want weak Ottomans? Now the reason for this is simple. In-game AI Ottomans don't have the unique push you need. There's also, like I said, garrison script, which makes city garrisons stronger. And that's a plus, and I want to see more of, because I'll give you a great example. As Mehmed, I gathered my Ottoman armies to besiege Constantinople, even though I had a massive bombard, and also there was an event and script which allows you to pretty much gain these massive bombards, which is really great. And I managed to go and besiege that city, but each and every time I was trying to attack that city was impossible to take. The Byzantines really held, and they held firm. They really held firm. The annoying towers of the city managed to reduce most of my men, and taking that city was tough. These were some of the best troops that the Byzantines could field. And did I mention how awesome these units look? I can differentiate between the look of the units. But at the end it was tough for me, and I was unable to win. So if you want challenges, take that garrison script. The battles are also awesome. I was playing Venice, and I besieged the city of Bologna. And when I besieged it, I first started my attack. We were getting there. We had defeated most of the enemy army, and then the enemy army brought reinforcements, and that was not fun at all. It wasn't fun. This is what I love. This is a real-time tactical based mod, and each movement that you do within a battle will basically force you. Any poor moves, any mistake on your part, and you could literally regret it. That's how intense this mod is. That's how intense it is. And let me talk about the buildings, because buildings also play a big role. You have to choose between which buildings increase your economy, which religious buildings also boost public order, and also if you have, like, say, the Patriarch of Constantinople and you build churches, that really helps in your favor. But you also have to be careful with spending because different factions play differently. If, say, you play in Venice, you have a ton of factors to think about. Dominance in the Italian city-states, protecting your Balkan Empire, warring off the Ottomans. The Ottomans are the big beasts of this mod. And I do wish Tsardoms had a bigger scope, as I feel that the campaign, while great, is still a small expansion in one way or the other because it's not like covering the whole world. It's covering a gigantic area of the Balkans, of Greece, of Italy, so there's a lot to focus with here. Now imagine Tsardoms expanded and then the potential is unrivaled. This is an era that I think was ignored by Medieval 2. It didn't go in depth. And here's the thing, you could have rival alliances because the Byzantines on the verge of collapse. You want to play the Desolate of Epirus, they want to claim that they're the true heirs to Rome. You want to play the Byzantines where basically you don't have much to do in terms of trying to revive your empire, right? At one point the Byzantines were feared. The Byzantines ruled the entire world. Their Roman ancestors ruled that world. But that is not the case anymore. Byzantium is surrounded by enemies. Byzantium is surrounded by opportunists. Byzantium is surrounded by, cutthroats within their own ranks, traitors within their own ranks. Byzantium doesn't have much going for it right now, but you can still play Byzantium and you can still revive the Byzantine Empire. How you're going to do it when you're facing the Ottoman juggernaut is a completely different question. Right? You could be playing the Hungarians, the Bohemians, or the Viennese, you could play the Bohemians, the Hungarians, the Venetians, and all of them have their own motives, their own objectives, and their own, let's say, goals. Right? You can say the Serbian rulers besieging the city of Sarai, so capturing it makes them dissolve the Serbians and Greeks. I'm not sure if the Bulgarians were in this, but I think the Bulgarians were centuries a little earlier than this. The Ottomans are also supporting the Desolate of Epirus, and there's so much more here. You can do a lot of diplomacy. Of course, the diplomatic options of Medieval 2 are limited. Half the time I was getting notifications of, if I get map information, they'll say, accept or we will attack. So that was a bit odd. So there's a ton of rivalry, diplomacy, tons of scripted events, and each faction, as I've said, has a unique dilemma, UI, and missions. It's a complete mod in a great package. What it's offering for Total War as a whole is just absolutely amazing. This should be a £30 game or something. I'm using the British currency, of course, but this would be a $30 expansion. This is a $30 expansion, and I'm saying that right now. And if there's one more thing that I want to say is the battles feel absolutely great. The other thing is, if you attack, let's say, cities and castles, they have their own unique textures and they look absolutely amazing. My real desire though is to see actual city battle maps, so that we actually change the look of the vanilla cities and castles. So if I besiege Constantinople, I want to see a custom city of Constantinople. If I just focus on the capitals of Medieval 2 of this mod, right? If I attack Praha, if I attack Prague or Vienna or any of these capitals, I want to see unique custom cities, and I really would love to see if they have anything in progress planned for this. This by itself is a fantastic mod. Tsardoms Total War, which is basically 1448, the Fall of Constantinople, is an absolutely amazing campaign. You can play the Italians, you can play as, let's say, the Crown of Sicily and go and besiege Rome. You can do so many things. The endless options are limitless. Want to recreate Venice as the supreme power? You can go ahead and do it. So there's lots and lots of options. It's a fantastic mod. So that's all I'm going to say is stay tuned, because Medieval 2 has some of the best mods out there, and there's some really amazing mods coming out in the future. And I will just say this in the last, that if you feel my resolution was a bit odd, Well, that's because I was playing on a different laptop, and when I recorded the footage, it seemed to work on it. On my old PC or laptop or whatever it is, the resolution was not working right, and there were so many issues. So you're seeing this in 2560 times 1440 resolution, or well, I believe 1600 resolution. And if you want to see the whole video, it's very simple. Just go full screen on this video and it will just be there. So that's it. I'm going to be making more content on Medieval Total War and its mods within the future, but don't miss out on Tsardoms Total War. Just do not miss out. And if you want to check some good friends of mine, you might want to check Wolf of Iberia, who did a Tsardoms Total War live stream. And you might want to check the Terminator, who has also done Tsardoms Total War live stream, which I will link here in the video. And you can also check the links down in the description box down below. So don't forget to leave a like, share, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.